Imagine two people standing under the same summer sun. The temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. The air feels heavy. The heat feels impossible to escape. One person lives in 2026. The other lives more than 100 years ago. The temperature is the same, but their lives are completely different. The person living today knows exactly what to do. He walks inside, turns on the air conditioner. The outside world disappears behind a wall of cool air. A street in the middle of a heat wave can be unbearable, but inside a modern building, the temperature stays comfortable. A machine quietly creates a completely different environment. The person living in 1900 has no such option. No air conditioner, no climate, controlled buildings, no thermostat, no machine powerful enough to fight the summer heat. For him, a hot summer day is not just uncomfortable, it controls his entire life, when he works, when he sleeps, where he lives, and sometimes whether he survives. Today, extreme heat is one of the biggest environmental challenges in the world. Temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius are becoming more common in many regions. When the human body is exposed to extreme heat for too long, it struggles to remove heat, reaction speed slows. Concentration decreases, and heat can become deadly. But modern humans have something our ancestors never had. We can create our own small climate. We cannot control the sun. We cannot stop summer. But we can build a room where the weather outside loses its power. That ability seems normal today, but for most of human history, it was impossible. In the 19th century, summer in a growing city like New York was a completely different experience. The city was expanding rapidly. Millions of people were moving into dense neighborhoods. Buildings were made from brick and stone. Streets were narrow. During the day, walls absorbed the sun's heat. At night, those same walls slowly released that heat back into homes. For an ordinary family, a summer night could feel endless. The sun had disappeared, but the heat remained. The room was still warm. The air was still. Windows were opened, hoping for a cool breeze. Sometimes it arrived. Sometimes it did not. There was no button to press. No machine to save them. They simply waited. Waited for the temperature to fall. Waited for their bodies to recover. Waited for morning. When people lose sleep because of heat, they usually search for a solution. They turn on a fan. They adjust the thermostat. They move into a cooler room. But people in the past had fewer choices. They had to organize their lives around the weather. Workers changed their schedules. Farmers avoided the hottest hours of the day. People searched for shade. They used water. They changed the way they built their homes. Because before modern technology, humans could not change the environment. They could only adapt to it. But humans have always searched for ways to overcome their limits. Long before electricity, the first weapon against heat was not a machine. It was architecture. Ancient Romans understood something surprisingly advanced. A building itself could fight the heat. Wealthy Roman families designed homes with thick walls, courtyards, water features, and carefully planned airflow. These designs did not create cold air, but they reduced the power of the summer heat. However, there was an uncomfortable truth. Comfort was never equally available. The wealthy could escape. They could retreat to countryside villas. They could build homes designed for cooler living. Ordinary people living in crowded cities had no such escape. They faced the same summer with fewer options. Thousands of miles away, in the region of modern-day Iran, ancient Persian engineers created another remarkable solution: windcatchers. These structures captured wind from higher areas, guided it into buildings, and pushed hot air away. No electricity, no motors, no compressors, just architecture using the natural movement of air. Centuries before modern air conditioning, people had already discovered a basic principle. If you cannot change the temperature, change the air around you. But every ancient solution had the same weakness. It depended on nature. If there was no wind, there was a limit. If temperatures became extreme, there was only so much humans could do. People could adapt, but they could not truly control their environment. So humans began searching for a different answer. What if we could create cool air ourselves? For centuries, ice was one of the closest things humanity had to artificial cooling. People harvested ice during winter, stored it in underground ice houses, and saved it for the warmer months. In the 19th century, the ice trade became a massive business. Companies transported natural ice thousands of miles. But ice was expensive. For ordinary families, cooling was still a luxury. The turning point came in 1902. In Brooklyn, New York, a printing company faced a serious problem. Summer humidity was damaging its production. The paper absorbed moisture. The pages changed shape. Ink colors became inaccurate. The factory needed a way to control the air. The company contacted a young engineer. His name was Willis Carrier. He was only 25 years old. But Carrier was not trying to make people comfortable. He was not trying to create the modern air conditioner we know today. His goal was much more specific. Control temperature and humidity. Carrier designed a machine that could regulate the condition of the air. At first, it was simply an industrial solution, a way to make a factory work properly. But this invention represented something much bigger. For thousands of years, humans had adapted themselves to the environment. Now, for the first time, humans were beginning to adapt the environment to themselves. Over the following decades, air conditioning moved beyond factories. Movie theaters installed it. Office buildings installed it. Department stores installed it. Eventually, it entered ordinary homes. And it changed far more than comfort. It changed where people could live, where businesses could grow, where cities could expand. The American Sunday Belt is one of the clearest examples. Regions with extremely hot summers, such as Arizona, Texas, and Florida, experienced enormous population growth as cooling technology became widespread. Places once limited by heat became major centers of modern life. Air conditioning did not change the weather. It changed humanity, its relationship with the weather. For thousands of years, the environment controlled human decisions. The climate decided when people worked, where they settled, which regions could support large populations. We still live under the same sun. Heat waves still happen. Summer still arrives. Nature has not disappeared. But humans gained something that previous generations never had. Choice. We often think civilization is found in the biggest achievements. Skyscrapers, space rockets, artificial intelligence, the internet. But sometimes, civilization hides inside ordinary objects. A thermostat, a cooling system, a machine quietly mounted on a wall, because that machine represents thousands of years of human struggle. Fire architecture, water, wind, ice engineering, generation after generation trying to answer one question. How do we live in a world that does not always fit us? So the next time you walk into a cool room on a hot summer day, remember, you are not just feeling cold air. You are experiencing the result of thousands of years of human adaptation, experimentation, failure, and innovation. The greatest achievement of modern life is not that we defeated nature. We did not. The sun still rises, the seasons still change, the heat still returns. The achievement is that humanity finally gained the ability to push back, to create comfort where none existed before, to build a small world where the weather no longer completely controls our lives.